Welcome back into the Killer Potential series. We've already covered a couple iconic killers in this series. In today's video, we're going to talk about Sadako from the Ringu and what this killer could bring to Dead by Daylight. We have a really interesting theory of what Sadako's power could be based on her abilities in the movies. There's a lot of speculations and predictions for what this killer could bring to the PTB. Would the killer bring in something similar to pig boxes but with VHS tapes instead? Or would the killer bring in a teleporting ability like the Demogorgon but with wells instead? And let's be honest, there's pretty high odds that this killer comes out looking like Spirit. Big thanks to Yarman for helping me compile all of this footage. I couldn't have made this video without Yarman, so big thanks to him. Dead by Daylight just tweeted out this second teaser for the Ringu chapter. Let's take a look. Also note in the tweet there's a picture of a VHS tape. So the Ringu Chapter 23 PTB is coming this Tuesday, February 15th. The live release is March 8th. We won't see the legendary skin until then. Peanuts, a DVD dev, has stated that a legendary skin changes a character into a completely different one, but is reserved for characters from the Legends of Horror genre, typically from other games, movies, or shows. For example, how Leon has an outfit that turns him into Chris. There's also no word if there's a new map with this chapter or not, but Behavior did say we can expect 2 maps during year 6. Chapter 23 is the last chapter in year 6, and we've already seen 2 maps during this DVD year: the Resident Evil Police Department and the Eyrie of Crows. Quick reminder, if you like this video and want videos like this one recommended to you by YouTube, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I also stream on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday nights. The link for that is in the description below. In this video, we're going to talk about the potential that this killer has in Dead by Daylight. Sadako's cultural appearance is of a woman in a white dress with long hair covering her face, which has evolved into a trait for other icons of horror films, such as Kyoko Saiki of the June on the Grudge franchise and Samara from the American version of The Ring. Interestingly, both The Ring and June on the Grudge were listed on the Satisfaction survey. Director Hideo Nakata's 1998 Japanese horror film Ringu was so popular when it was released that it launched an entire franchise that includes numerous sequels, prequels, and American remakes. Ringu is widely known for featuring the disturbing VHS tape that places a curse on the viewer which will kill them in just 7 days. The early 2000s J-horror craze is largely attributed to the success of Ringu and its successors. Each of the installments of the franchise are based on Koji Suzuki's novels. The novel series was first adapted into the 1995 television movie, which was titled Ring. It wasn't until 1998 that Suzuki's story would receive larger recognition. Hideo Nakata is one of the first Japanese masters of supernatural horror, with a filmography composed of influential J-horror films including the original Ringu and its sequel. Along with Nakata's work, Western audiences of the early 2000s witnessed the emergence of Takashi Shimizu's June on the Grudge. Yet none of these films have been iconic or successful as Ringu. Hideo Nakata's Ringu set the tone for the future of supernatural Japanese horror films, especially when it dominated the box office the year it was released. It became the most successful movie in the horror genre in 1998. Ringu in general is one of the most well-known J-horror films in history, and was the primary influence on the international craze, as well as being the most successful overall in building a long-running Japanese horror movie franchise. The American version of The Ring brought together elements of the original film such as minimalism and isolation, while combining it with westernized themes and the backstory for Samara. While the first American remake retained the original Japanese movie's plot, the further the franchise expanded, the more their differences increased. There are currently 12 films in the Ringu franchise, with various storylines and a potential 13th movie in the works. Sadako from the original Japanese film is very powerful, inheriting her psychic powers from her mother and possibly her unknown father in the films. Her most notable power is that of Nensha, an ability which allows her to telekinetically burn images onto surfaces or into a person's mind. This allows her to create the videotape while trapped in the well. Her psychic powers also allow her to manipulate DNA and viruses, creating her mutated smallpox virus in the novels. The cursed tape allow her to appear as a ghost and extend her Nensha powers to others. In Ring Zero, Sadako has little control of her powers, and unknowingly creates an early version of the cursed tape in the form of a sound recording. Her ghost can appear, most notably showing an ability to crawl out of a television to kill her victims. In Dead by Daylight, there are several ways that Sadako's power could be implemented. She probably wouldn't be a range killer, so her terror radius would be 32 meters and her movement speed would be 115% or 4.6 meters per second. Sadako's power is called Curse. It allows her to crawl at an extremely fast speed on all fours. She can move at 6 meters per second and can vault windows in a faster, creepier way, and perhaps can crawl under pallets. She can't attack in this phase. The time to get into her crawling state takes 2 seconds and it takes 4 seconds for her to stand up. If she's moving, whenever she changes to crawling or walking, she's slowed down. She has no terror radius and no red stain during this phase. Additionally, 7 wells spawn on the map, all equally spaced apart. Using a secondary ability called Nensha, Sadako can freely teleport to a well of her choosing, similar to how Freddy Krueger can teleport to generators. The survivors can counter these wells though. 7 videotapes spawn on the map as well. Survivors can take each tape to to a cloning TV station to make a copy of the VHS tapes. The television sets could look similar to some of the TVs we already see in DBD, and the survivors can interact with them similar to the pig box stations. Maybe one of the TV stations spawns in the basement. Every time a survivor clones a tape, one of Sadako's wells at random seals for the rest of the game. These tapes take time to clone, but if survivors invest the time, they can set themselves up for an easier endgame. What do you think about this power? What map do you think would work best for Sadako? Let me know in the comments below. When speculating what legendary skin is going to come with this killer, we know that behavior teased a well in a Ringu teaser, so it seems highly likely that the killer's power is going to have something to do with wells. That implies that the legendary skin would also need to use the well power, so it can't be a killer who makes no sense with the well power. We also know that they listed multiple license holders in the teaser. None of the license holders really line up with the American version of the ring, so some people think that Samara isn't the legendary skin. The interview from Matthew Cote expressly stated that they're going to be using the original movie and novel, so realistically we could be seeing one skin from the movie and one skin from the novel. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.